Hey there, YouTube. I'd like to do a video on record preservation, especially for people who are just starting to get into vinyl. Many people get into vinyl because maybe somebody bought them one of those crappy retro looking Crosley players or a cheap USB player or something like that, and they decided that they really liked the vinyl, and so now they want to invest more of their money into the vinyl, which is great because it's the best hobby that there is. The only thing is, once you've made that decision to explore the vinyl medium further and invest more of your cash into it, the very first thing you should be looking at is an upgrade to the turntable that you have. Now, I'm not saying that you have one of the turntables that I just mentioned, but if your turntable runs with a ceramic versus a magnetic cartridge, for one, those ceramic cartridges just kill your records. And if you're not sure what kind you have, well, if your turntable doesn't have a built-in preamp, or your turntable will plug directly into an auxiliary output on your amp or receiver versus a phono output, if it works using the auxiliary, then you have a ceramic cartridge. Magnetic cartridges require a signal boost, meaning a preamp. Sometimes some of these USB players have them built in. Old school receivers all had phono outputs, which was attached to a built-in preamp. So ceramic cartridges, and they're usually, the ones I've seen are usually a red colored cartridge, red and black cartridge. It's kind of very generic. The pressure that the stylus puts on your record just kills your grooves. I'm serious. It's not good for your records. The tracking force is also heavier too. They track around 3 to 5 grams versus 1 to 2 grams for a magnetic cartridge stylus. And the cut of the stylus itself is far inferior to a magnetic cartridge. So that's one thing. You need to get rid of that. Also, I'm not a big fan of USB players, period. And here's the reason why. USB players were not constructed or manufactured for vinyl lovers. They were manufactured for people who want to get rid of their vinyl and put their music onto a digital format. So the build quality of these things, for the most part, is very, very poor. And most of them, or a lot of them, do come equipped with the inferior ceramic cartridges. The better ones, and even then I'm not a fan of the better ones either. Some do have the magnetic cartridge, but again, it's not one of the better cartridges. It's just a very, very basic stock cartridge. And I haven't seen a USB turntable yet that's constructed well. Most of these turntables are very light in construction, maybe 5 pounds, 7 pounds tops. And that's because these things are built on the cheap, all of them. And you know, there's 3 words in the back that just drive me nuts, that every time I look at one in a store, is the words "Made in China." I just can't handle that. To me, it's a sign of inferior. It's not craftsmanship. In China, they manufacture. They have a quota to meet. It's all very fast manufacturing. There's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no attention to quality in a lot of respects. Anything you buy today, any electronic device you buy today, in a year or so, you're buying another one because the one you have doesn't work anymore. It's really a sad thing to say about the state of the world, but they just don't make things to last anymore. So even when you decide to upgrade your turntable, if you're insistent on getting a brand new turntable, like pay retail dollars for it, you're looking at spending at least $300 to get anything of any quality. I can tell you right now, if I had no turntable right now and I had $500 in my pocket to buy one, I wouldn't be buying a new one. You know, you can get a decent one that's brand new for $500. but you can get a much better one, a vintage style turntable. Probably the easiest venue to get a turntable is on eBay, but there's other places online you can order them from as well. All my turntables, I have like a bunch of them here, and they're all vintage turntables, and I wouldn't trade them for, well, my best turntable is my Denon DP60L. I wouldn't trade it for a turntable going for $1,000 brand new anywhere. It's just that good of a turntable, and it makes a huge difference on how long, like on the wear factor of your records. Turntables that have no adjustment for stylus force or anti-skating. And here's a prime example here. Like if your turntable even mildly resembles this, you can see there's no way you can adjust the tracking force because it's set at the factory at 1.25 grams apparently. And you're also very limited into the type of cartridge you can buy as well. All you're limited to are these cheap P-mount cartridges that you get for like 20 bucks. They are magnetic, but you know, a $20 cartridge, I can tell you right now, sounds a lot different than a $100 cartridge. And this is the style you really want to avoid. Anything that looks like this, it's just cheap plastic. This thing doesn't weigh any more than 5 pounds. So stay away from that. In my opinion, stay away from USB turntables as well. And really, a turntable that's you're going to spend some money for, whether it be vintage or new. The parts are superior. The turntable has some mass to it. The mass is important, especially for vibration of the platter. And vibration is often audible too. Like if it's bad enough, you will hear it through the stylus, through your speakers. So you can imagine what that diamond is doing to your soft vinyl grooves in your record. It's just gouging it to hell. So you know, I know a lot of people in the vinyl community, most people in the vinyl community have purchased record sleeves for all their albums. You know, but record sleeves, to me, is not the first order of preservation of your records. The first order is the equipment that you're playing your records on. It's the most important, because once you get groove wear in a record, you can't fix it. You can't fix a cover either with that's got ring wear, but at least if your records are being looked after properly, in that sense, they're gonna, you know, you can pass them on to generation after generation, and it's still going to sound excellent. So I would say, again, before you go and invest a ton of money into more vinyl and record sleeves too, make upgrading your system to something that's going to treat your records as gently as possible. You can spend $200 at Future Shop or Best Buy on a turntable that's just a piece of crap. I've seen what they have in the store here in town at Future Shop. They have 2 turntables there. One's a USB, the other one's like a standard type turntable, and it's just garbage. Like it's just a piece of crappy plastic, and that's all it is. So for that same $200, and I know, you know, especially some of you younger people, you didn't grow up in the age where the turntable was kind of king as far as like your media player would go. That was your media player back then. So you may not know the difference, and you think, well, as a Future Shop, it's nice and shiny and black, it's got to be good. Well, you know what? It's not. For that same money, do some research. You can find yourself a really nice vintage table, one with some weight to it, one that you can calibrate your fine-tuning adjustments, your tracking force, your anti-skating, sometimes vertical tracking force as well, or vertical tracking angle is equipped on some turntables as well. And you can find these, you know, for $100, $150, and get something that's decent. The only thing I would suggest, though, if you do buy a turntable online, is if it comes with a cartridge, if there's a cartridge in it, chances are it's been used. You don't know how much it's been used, so unless you have some way of inspecting it or having somebody who knows what they're doing inspecting the condition of the stylus, I would ditch the cartridge and buy a new one. And again, I wouldn't just go and buy the cheapest Audio Technica you can find. because you can get them for as low as $18, $19. Do a little research again. You can get a really nice sounding cartridge for around $50. So for that same 200 bucks, you're getting a much superior turntable system than if you just go and pay your retail at Future Shop, pay $200 for a piece of crap that they sell there. Sleeves too, like sleeves, I would say come second, as I said. I know the Blake sleeves are a big hit in the vinyl community right now. I have nothing bad to say about the Blake sleeves, but they're just not for me. And the reason being is that I've tried sleeves before with the resealable flap, and to me it's just an extra step to get to my record. And you know, there's plenty of protection with just a regular open-ended sleeve, because your record, for one, is put in the sleeve sideways, so the open end is covered by the top of the album, and then when you're sliding the sleeve in, the plastic is covering that open end. So as far as like protection from dust and dirt or whatever that might get into your record, these are more than sufficient. The Blake sleeves, I think, are fantastic for somebody who is, say, a collector of rare records and maybe doesn't really have much intention of playing them, more as much as collecting them. A lot of these do have really great systems, but then, you know, there's been some music room tours and just shots of some of the vinyl community members sitting in front of their albums, and they got this chintzy record player sitting in the background, and I'm thinking, you know what, get rid of that thing, make that your #1 priority, get rid of that, get something of a little bit more quality, because your records are just a huge investment. You don't want to let that investment go down the drain. I read somewhere that records are, you don't own records, you just borrow them for a while until the next generation, because the next generation will inherit these records, which is very true. And you want them to get a record that sounds good and is not all worn out. Some of you in the vinyl community will be able to relate what I'm talking about here. You know, you might be on the hunt for a record that you've been wanting for a long time. Maybe it's something that's you know, from the 60s or the 70s, and you're looking for a mint copy of it. And finally, you find what seems to be a mint copy of that record. You find it either online or you find it at a record store, and you know, the cover is mint, the album has no marks on it whatsoever, everything about it looks fantastic. You take it home, you put it on your turntable, lower the needle down, and all you get is groove distortion. And this person who owned this album thought they were taking care of their records, because, like I said, you know, they obviously put the record back into the sleeve right after use. They had their record in a plastic, the cover in a plastic sleeve, so you know, everything visually is beautiful. But what they neglected to do was use a either they were using a stylus that was super inferior, with the tracking force was very heavy, or it was a stylus that was just worn out. So it's very important, you know, you can't get that sound back once the needle rips it out of the grooves. It's gone. So it's very important. I think it's #1 over record sleeves, is to make sure that you have a needle that is in great shape, and also a turntable that allows the needle to travel through the grooves with as little friction and interference as possible. Also solid as well. You don't want any kind of vibration coming from the motor or anything else that's going to inhibit the sound or increase the actual wear of the stylus on your record. Anyway, that's it. You can leave your feedback if you want, leave comments if you want. I might have upset a few people, I don't know. This is all my opinion, but at the same time, like I said, I grew up in the turntable age, and there are certain things that you really need to look for when you're selecting a turntable, especially if you're planning on going full tilt into vinyl buying. You want to protect your investment, and that's the most important thing. So take care for now, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.